Welcome back to Boxing Bets. I'm Sam Beresford, and once again, I'm joined by Paul Kelly of EatSleepBoxingRepeat.com. Once again, after a week off, we are back giving you the best odds and the best underdogs of this week in the boxing world. So this week, it's mainly two cards that we've got. We've got the Jake Paul, Tyron Woodley card on Showtime, and we've got the Akeem Ennis-Brown, Sam Maxwell card on BT in the UK. So, Paul, obviously looking at the fights on both cards this week, which take your fancy the most?
There's a few that I do like. I feel like the British card we were talking about, there's a few very close fights. Rather than having your 1 to 25s or whatever, or 1 to 10s that we're sometimes used to. Seems to be very good fights on there, and I do see some value on there. But I know you're going to talk about one or two that you like on that card, because the biggest one I like is across the pond in America can't believe we're going to talk about him, because I don't mind saying I absolutely despise the man. But yeah, I think Jake Paul versus Tyron Woodley, there's real value in that fight. I personally don't understand how Jake Paul can be a favourite against Tyron Woodley. Tyron Woodley, you can get him just to win the fight at 13-8. I believe, on most bookmakers, and the stoppage win is 15-8 or even up to 2-1. So for me, I don't want to say free money, because people might back it, he might lose, and then look at me, I'm the idiot. But I don't know. I just can't see Jake Paul beating him, to be honest with you. Like, we would be we obviously love the boxing, but we've chatted before about we love our mixed martial arts, and we're big fans of Woodley, and he was fighting at 170 pounds for his career in the UFC, and although he's mainly a wrestling based fighter, he did have some good striking. Even his knockout of Robbie Lawler, like that was an unbelievable shot, just one big overhand right, and that was good night.
But how long ago was that, though? That's the thing. How long ago was that? Years ago.
5 years.
Yeah. He's not, to me, just not the same guy. And we will get into this more on our preview show that will be on this channel as well. But he's just, for me, I think I wouldn't touch that fight betting wise. It's too close. I think I could see Jake Paul knocking him out in the 2 rounds. Like, that isn't, to me, that's not like mental. I know
there's a difference though between. There's a difference. I see where you're coming from. I do, because obviously he's on like a 4-fight losing streak at the end of his UFC career, I believe. But
and UFC isn't the same as boxing. But
if you're comparing Ben Askren, who Jake Paul obviously beat, like Ben Askren has 0 hands at all, like 0 hands. Like, I don't even know if the bloke's ever thrown a punch in his life before.
He also didn't
that we knew
that
Jake
fight.
Paul was going to win. Yeah, exactly. But whereas with Woodley, I don't know, because he's actually been the champion in the UFC, I don't know, I could be completely wrong, but I feel like he might have a little bit more respect for himself and actually wants to beat him. And judging by his social media, he does seem to actually be training as well. It's at he's at least 10 to 15 pounds heavier fighting in this boxing fight. So I don't know, will he carry more power? Okay, his fitness might not be as good. But he's a powerful bloke. Woodley, like, for me, it only takes one shot. And I question this, like, Jake Paul, who's he sparring? I know he's training at Big Bear, as you said, but like, who's he sparring? Has he been hit with big shots ever? I don't know. Like, at the end of the day, if he gets hit with a massive shot, which Woodley's capable of delivering, will he just think in his head, why am I even boxing? Like, I'm a YouTuber, I'm not a boxer. Why is this happening? So I just think Woodley will win by a knockout, probably. So, and at those odds, I can't believe they're those odds. I thought maybe if they had been very even, fair enough. I can see where you're coming from, as you've already mentioned with Jake Paul. But for me, Tyron Woodley wins this fight every day, twice on a Sunday.
And I do think taking the underdog in this fight, whoever the underdog would have been, probably is your best bet. I don't think you're taking the favourite in this fight ever if you are trying to make money. So for me now, we're going to move on to obviously the rest of that card is a waste of time in terms of odds. It's Tommy Fury and Daniel Dubois. There's no point even bothering looking at it. So we will move on to the card on BT in the UK. And for me, there's actually quite a few live underdogs in this card. I think just starting on the main event for me, which is going to be my pick of the week in the later segment that we do. Sam Maxwell is a very live underdog against Akeem Ennis-Brown. I'm not diminishing Akeem Ennis-Brown, what he's done and his record. I think his record is really good. He obviously picked up the big win against Philip Bowes last year. But for me, Sam Maxwell is dangerous. And I think this fight, I think we saw in the build-up just how up for it both these fighters are. And I would not be surprised at seeing Sam Maxwell come away victorious. At the moment, you can get him on 5-4, and you can also get it 10-3 by decision as well for Sam Maxwell, which I think is pretty good odds if you are looking for an underdog. For you, Paul, is there anyone else on that card who you're looking at as being a potential upset?
So yeah, I agree with you. There's a few that you could pick out as being very live underdogs. One of which obviously is Sam Maxwell. I think Leon Woodstock's also a very live underdog. Me personally, I don't think he will win, but he is a big underdog because I know Anthony Kakachi is 2-9 on some bookmakers. So if you fancy Woodstock, and it's definitely worth a punt on him, because I feel like those odds might be a little bit too wide. But if I had to pick one other than the one you mentioned, which I think is the best value, it would probably be Ahmed versus Kadimi, which is for the British super flyweight title. Both have been beaten before, and Kadimi's a 1-3 favourite to win. And although I don't know a huge lot about, I haven't studied them vigorously, I've seen clips of both of them, and judging by their records, I think it's probably going to be a lot closer than those odds suggest. So I think a punt on Ahmed could potentially be a good pick as well.
Yeah, and those two, I think those three fights that we've all spoken about there are the three where they're all quite live underdogs. And for me, it was a toss-up between those three. But I just went with Maxwell as having the best chance on that big occasion in that main event slot. So now we've got a new segment. If anyone has watched, this is the 4th episode now of Boxing Bets. So we are bringing a new segment. So each week, myself and Paul will pick one underdog. They can be from any card, and the only rule is they have to be an underdog on Sky Bet. That's the bookmaker we're choosing to use. So Paul, this week, and we will keep a tally as well. So there's a bit of competition here about who can come out on top. So Paul, who is your underdog of the week?
Underdog of the week, as I've waxed lyrical about there for goodness knows how long, my underdog of the week is going to be Tyron Woodley.
What a shock. What
about yourself?
For me, it is going to be, it's close, but it is going to be Sam Maxwell in that main event against Akeem Ennis-Brown. So next week we'll have a look at how we got on, and we will keep a tally and see who does the best over the next few episodes. So that has been Boxing Bets, brought to you by EXBR Boxing. Thank you, Paul, again for joining us, and make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you all guys later. Cheers. Thank you.